Hello, everyone. Welcome to Newbie Star Trek. We did it.
Whoa.
We did it. We
did it. What do we do?
We reached the peak of the series. No, I'm not gonna say that.
That's
I'm not gonna say that.
Those are big words there, partner.
Yeah,
I mean, there are many who would agree with you.
Yeah, I set the tone pretty hard at the beginning.
Way to bury that lead, Marvin.
Or not bury. Burying it means we wouldn't know what it is, right? So
actually, I forgot. I think one time I read like this debunking of what bury the lead is usually used, or like how it's usually used and how it's wrong. Yeah,
kind of like how that begs the question is actually used incorrectly all the time.
As well as like...
I don't know what the correct way to use that is either, but whatever.
Yeah. That's what you get.
Because you'd be burying the berries. You know what I mean? Like bury.
the Roddenberries.
Yeah.
Or...
Back to Star Trek.
Yeah.
Burying Roddenberry's leads.
Yeah. Or getting Barry.
Tied it together.
Barry Sonnenfeld.
Yeah, we're Newbie Star Trek. Welcome to the podcast.
Again.
If you're new, welcome. I'm Marvin. I'm here with Ricardo and Dan. Hey, guys.
I'm Dan.
Hello, I'm Ricardo for today.
So, if you're new...
Sorry, I'm drinking Dr. Pepper.
If you're new, Ricardo is the eponymous newbie in the sense that before this podcast, he had never really watched Star Trek before.
Yeah.
So if you foolishly thought that you're the newbie trying to get into Star Trek with this podcast, joke's on you.
Yeah.
It was Ricardo the whole time.
You're
you feel stupid.
You stupid.
You're stupid.
But if you've been listening for a long time, thank you.
We love you.
And it would help us if you've been liking the podcast to, I don't know, leave us a review on iTunes or Apple Podcasts or whatever it's called. The fuck it's called these days.
Whatever you're listening to on. If you're listening to on like some Google
like Podcast Addict,
whatever
go for that.
Doesn't matter, dude.
Whatever. It's fine as long.
Do you, as they say.
Yeah, or don't.
Yeah,
you don't have to either. You know. Or
and as you write your review, just remember that when I called you stupid, I did it very loudly.
It demanded a response.
It's true.
Because you can leave us a bad review too. That's fine. You can leave a review that says they called me stupid.
Yeah.
I didn't like
and they
that.
didn't even apologize.
No.
They even set up a really good apology and then they didn't even do it.
Yeah.
What an asshole.
It subverted our expectations.
Can I say something before we get started?
Of
Before
course.
we get into any of this,
Of course,
I was
sir.
very disappointed by what occurred the last few days.
Oh.
Probably longer. So I received a file from Marvin, and it said, Measure of a Man, Extended Edition. And I thought, well, I've seen fucking Magic Mike XXL. So I know where this is headed. Turned it on, and not
You're
once.
expecting a big Magnum episode.
Yeah, not once did Captain Picard measure his dick. Not once. No one
or
did.
Data.
No one
or
did.
Riker.
Yeah. No one did.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Ricardo. We totally misled you.
It is the main failing of the episode.
Don't send me a file called Measure of a Man, Extended Edition. If no one's going to be measuring their goddamn dicks, dude.
Yeah. And to be fair, the file is literally just called 209, the measure of a man.
Yeah.
There's no indication that it's Star Trek.
Yeah. I thought, well, 209, there must be 209 dudes measuring I'm like, I've seen two girls in one cup. I'm not for anything.
209 girls, one cup.
Yeah.
Having never seen that actual video, 209 sounds excessive.
It probably is.
Yeah.
You know? It's also probably a logistical nightmare just passing around the cup. Have you touched the cup yet?
You need to hire a project manager for that.
Have you used the cup yet?
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, it's been so long, I could use the cup again.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We need synergy. We need other dudes in other buildings to cut.
Yeah, we need some Imagineers to get on this.
You know what? Also, so one, I still stand by the statement that every Star Trek title, every episode that has a title could be an adult film.
Oh, I mean, okay. Well, let's go through them very quickly. So that we've gone through in this season so far, and see if any of them support your theory. So, for example,
all of them do. Contagion.
Okay. Well, okay. First of all,
of honor.
Ricardo. The first episode is called The Child, so I don't know.
Well, if you knock boots, you have the child.
Yeah. Okay.
This is a sequel to the adult film.
It's an epilogue. It's an epilogue of the adult film, The Child. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a making of documentary.
Where Silence Has Lease could definitely work.
Yeah.
All right. Elementary Dear Data. That's like a dress up cosplay.
Yeah.
Porno. The Outrageous Okana. I mean that works perfectly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Loud as a whisper.
For sure.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's just describing the way she sounds.
Yeah.
As they're fucking.
Yeah.
Why is it gotta be she?
Yeah, dude.
That's just true.
Could be two dudes.
Yeah, that's two. Yeah.
This is 2021. I think
the Schizoid Man. I'm not sure.
Could be
what man?
The Schizoid Man.
Yeah, he's juggling a lot of ladies, but he doesn't know he can't keep his. Yeah, you know.
That's a niche fetish.
Yeah. Unnatural selection.
For sure.
Oh yeah. Well, okay.
Definitely.
All right, you're right. All right, I rate this theory 8 out of 10.
See, boom. If you like this podcast, please leave us a tell us what your favorite adult film name is of this or last season.
Now that we have made you thoroughly
at least one listener who's like, get to Measure of a Man.
Shut up! Get to Measure of a Man.
The good episode, you pieces of shit.
I should mention, if it wasn't clear by the title of the podcast, we all watched the extended edition.
Yeah,
and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think this is the first time we've all seen the extended edition, right?
This is
that would be true.
This is the only time I've seen it.
Yeah, and that for Ricardo, it's extra interesting because it's the only version of the episode he's ever seen. So that to me is very interesting because I would love to see his insight because the changes are not massive. Like they don't change what happens in the episode, obviously, but there are some significant details that changes your characterizations of people and whatnot.
Now I'm second guessing the idea of the fact that we watched this and I watched this as the first thing because this is not what people watched originally.
But the thing is, it's a rare opportunity, right? Like the extended edition's already somewhat not that well distributed. Mm-hmm. So I thought it'd be a good opportunity for someone who has never seen it to see what they think. And this is Melinda Snodgrass's like actual vision of what she wanted to have the episode be. It's just when she wrote the script, it was too long. So
now, okay, so where could people find this?
This can be found on either
Blu-ray restorations of Star Trek.
Yeah, the whole collection.
Season 2.
Yeah, either the one just for season 2 or the complete collection.
Okay,
they both have it. And I believe it's only. Correct me if I'm wrong, Dan, because I haven't looked at my Blu-ray collection of the full yet. But I think it's only the season 2 only collection that has the commentary track. That's with Melinda Snodgrass and Michael. And
I'm actually not sure about that.
Okay, because I'm not sure. But that's that version.
But rest assured, I have not listened to the commentary track.
Yeah, that's as far as I know. That's the only version that has the commentary with Michael and oh my god, I forgot his wife's name. Michael Okuda and
oh shoot.
Yeah. I'm so bad with names. I'm sorry, everyone.
The Okudas. They always call them the Okudas.
Yeah.
To be fair, they're usually referred to as a unit.
Denise Okuda. So Michael Okuda and Denise Okuda.
Bob Samuda.
Who originally they were like kind of like production designers in the show and prop designers, but have evolved into kind of being like the caretakers of Star Trek, especially for TNG.
Yeah,
which is very interesting.
Like the Rosetta Stones.
Yeah,
remembered everything and how that was done.
Because they didn't just.
What was their names?
Michael Okuda and Denise Okuda.
Okuda. Oh, I generally thought you said Zamuda. I was like, oh, are they related to Bob Zamuda?
No. But like, they basically they were really into the show. So like, especially Michael Okuda, as he was working on it, like he wasn't just a job. It wasn't just a job for him. He was like a fan. So he remembered everything. So like when they came to the Blu-ray restorations, they kept asking him, hey, what is this supposed to be? He's like, oh, I remember because I talked to that person on that day and it was supposed to be this, blah, blah. And all of the like computer screen data and whatnot, that was all actually made by Michael Okuda, to the point where they're called Okudagrams. Because he just made up whatever needed to be made up that day really quickly on a piece of black plastic and just put it up. But yeah, the writer for that episode was Melinda Snodgrass, who she's got an interesting story in the fact that like she started as a lawyer, which makes sense given this episode.
Yeah,
and she was a writer for a bit, and then one of her very closest friends is none other than George R.R. Martin. And while George R.R. Martin was a writer for the Beauty and the Beast show starring Ron Perlman, he read one of her novels and was like, "You're a really good writer, and you have a good sense of both story structure, pacing, and dialogue, which is stuff that's really good for TV writing. Maybe you should make a spec script." This was a spec script.
Wow!
And George R.R. Martin showed it to his agent. His agent passed it on to Maurice Hurley. I've come to know they refer to him as Maury. So okay. Maury. And apparently the way the pitch meeting went, because she came in to like pitch the episode, right? Mm-hmm. She came in and she was like, okay, George R.R. Martin told me that like the spec script is just a spec script. That's not what they want to actually hear pitched. So you come in with your ideas and you pitch a show idea, right? Like an episode. Mm-hmm. So she came in and started a pitch. Apparently she was super nervous because it's the first time she'd ever worked in the film industry. And then about halfway through her pitch, Maury apparently went, it's okay, shh, calm down. Look at the whiteboard. And on the whiteboard, they had written up the episodes they're doing that season, and her script was on it.
Nice.
So that's how she learned she was hired.
Nice.
Which is pretty sick.
Yeah.
So this is a pretty excellent way to enter the industry.
Yeah, well, probably. Like what an anomaly, man. Because it's like, this is your first foray. This is your spec script.
And it's exceedingly rare.
This episode.
Yeah. One, it's exceedingly rare for spec scripts to be accepted as regular episodes for an ongoing show. And two, it's exceedingly rare for spec scripts or even freelance scripts like that to end up being this like, level of quality.
Like series defining episodes.
Character defining in many ways as well. Like
she never did like features or anything, huh?
No, she worked primarily on TV afterward. But she did such a good job on this season. She became the main story editor for the season and for season 3 as well.
Sweet.
It was very interesting. So anyway, this episode, The Measure of a Man, the extended edition didn't air, but the original broadcast version aired on February 13th, 1989. Dan, if you could.
13th.
Yes. My mouth is good. If you could take us around the sun and let us know what happened.
Yeah. On the not quite on the 13th. Sorry. I'm going to start off from the 9th.
Oh my God.
With a bit of sad news. Osamu Tezuka, the famous manga artist and creator of Astro Boy and Kim of the White Lion, passed away.
Wow, I didn't know it was that early.
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought it was
for whatever reason, I did not pull his age at the time. I usually have that info ready, but needless to say, he was old enough.
Wow. Or maybe he wasn't. We don't know.
I think it was like... Never mind. I'm not even going to try. One day later...
He was 60. See, he was only 60.
Oh, okay.
So he wasn't old.
Old enough. Old enough. He gave the world enough. This is terrible. Oh, what a horrible trip around the sun this is. On the 10th?
Just to clarify, he died because of stomach cancer. So
did he?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a terrible way to go.
Yeah. Stomach cancer is very painful.
It's always too soon to die of stomach cancer.
Well,
all right, we'll admit that. Moving on, February 10th. In a New Jersey court, in order to gain deregulation for their organization, the World Wrestling Federation admitted that pro wrestling is an exhibition and not a sport. But it's still real to me, damn it.
See, the funny part is it was already fake to everyone who was like closely following wrestling for like 20 years.
Shut up.
You have the Undertaker. You can't.
What? He really reaped souls. I saw it. It happened.
I fucking love and honestly, this is when wrestling got better because you can finally just admit, yes, it's fake and stupid. Let's just do whatever now, and it got better to me. But
yeah,
anyway.
it's good. It's good.
Yeah.
Hey, just a side note. Remember Wayne Gretzky?
Yeah.
And this week, he set 2 hockey records with his 45th hat trick and his 10th 40 or more goal season.
Dang.
He's a figure
That's
skater.
a lot of dang goals, man.
Yeah. I know nothing about hockey. I just know it's mostly Canadian and they're angry.
Yeah.
The hockey Canadians are angry. Otherwise, they're pretty nice. And on that weekend, the box office was won by none other than The Fly 2, a sequel starring Jeff Goldblum's son, which, well, I mean, not his actual son, but I mean the son of the character.
The son of the Fly. Son of the
Fly's character.
I did not know there was a Fly 2.
Oh, there was. And it was
awesome.
directed by a special effects guy who worked on Cronenberg's The Fly.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And it only included one actor from the previous film, not counting the stock footage they used of Jeff.
Yeah.
And no one liked it. Thank you.
I like it.
What kind of movie is it? Is it like they reuse footage from the original movie to then like
it takes place
and then
it takes place after the events of the first Fly, but it stars the son of the protagonist of the first Fly.
Then why is there stock footage from the original? Like what is it just for flashbacks or is it...
well okay, so The Fly 2 it's awesome, first of all. And nobody should tell you otherwise. They basically
don't listen to me.
It's his
there's interpersonal conflict on this podcast.
I said don't listen to me.
Eric Stoltz is
I was
the son.
agreeing with him.
Eric Stoltz. And,
Eric Stoltz is in it.
And it is a beautiful movie. He's like in a laboratory and they're studying him. You see him from like as a kid to like a grown up, and like it's shitty, but it's fun.
So is it kind of like the flashbacks are just like, but did they use it to like pad out the movie? Is it like Silent Night, Deadly Night 2? That's what I'm getting at.
I don't remember. I remember the guy without the arm is in it, right? The guy that got like spit on his arm. Remember? Gina Davis's boyfriend in the
Stathis.
Yeah. And but yeah, you should just watch it. It's
okay. All right.
A beautiful movie, dude.
Okay,
Beautiful.
I will have to look into it.
Yeah,
considering that it was directed by a special effects guy, you do at least get those.
Maybe we could do a commentary track if we're watching it anyway.
I think so. I think we should do a commentary.
Maybe we could do one.
I think we should do one where we tell people don't watch the first one. Go in blind.
You know what? I'm actually primed for that because I have not seen the original Fly.
Oh, perfect.
Excellent.
Newbie Fly 2.
So we'll have a range of experiences. Ricardo will be the experienced one. I will be new to the Fly 2, but not the Fly.
Yeah.
And Dan will be Fly curious in totality.
Yeah. And he'll be like, well, I like the Fly, but I also like other insects.
Way to content create, Marvin.
Let's
talk about Star Trek.
I don't like that term. Let's make content.
Too bad. Look at what you're doing right now. We're making Star Trek content. Let's talk about it.
This week we're sponsored by ExpressVPN, as we were last week. And I did a spiel last week, so I'm not going to go through all of it. All I will say is that normally when a sponsor is done for a podcast, it's like, oh, we're doing a sponsor and like blah, blah, blah. But this, like, we legitimately use ExpressVPN. Yeah. Like me and Dan Express.
It's hard to do this bit because so many other podcasters do the same thing. Like, no, I really use this product, but like, no, like I don't use it, but you two use it.
Yeah. So I can be honest.
That's how you know it's real. Yeah. One of us does not.
Yeah, Ricardo doesn't.
I'm locked in for 2 years. I can't change for 2 years.
Yeah, so Ricardo doesn't, but Dan and I do. And I've personally actually been using it for about 2 years. And that's after I had been using a bunch of other VPNs. And that's because in general, I went through the details of it why, but it has probably the best security you can find along with maintaining really high download speeds while connected to a VPN. Because the worst thing that can happen on a VPN, other than, it's not secure and they find out whatever crazy bullshit you're doing, is that it's slow. Because then what's the point, right? If you're using a VPN and you're secure, but you can't even watch internet stuff, right? What's the point? Like YouTube doesn't even work. In fact, on ExpressVPN, I've noticed it many times. My YouTube runs better once I'm on it because net neutrality is dead. So
here is an example of why would you need to use a VPN. I'm a writer. I had to research some things, and I don't want my internet search provider to know that I search how long would it take to eat a person.
Yep. There was a time I had to search best way to hide a body. And cover up the smell of a decomposing body. Yep. Dan knows why.
Yeah. I mean, you think Dan's real Dan? Why. We call him Dan 2.0.
I know everything about why.
But yeah, if you have to do weird shit like that, it's good to turn on a VPN.
Yeah.
It's just to make sure just so you don't have to have that uncomfortable meeting with the FBI later.
Yeah.
Hey Marvin, maybe the cool listeners at home could use some help getting access to this VPN.
Well, if you want a really good deal on ExpressVPN, if you go to expressvpn.com/newbie Star Trek and you sign up for 12 months, you get an extra 3 months free. So that makes the whole thing 49% off, which is a really good deal for this quality of VPN. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't cheaper VPNs. I'm not saying that there are even free VPNs, because those are things that exist. What I am saying is if you want a quality of VPN as good as ExpressVPN, that's a really good deal. I pay much more right now. And I would have loved to have had that offer, but I never did because I just jumped right into it. So again, that offer is at expressvpn.com/newbie Star Trek. That's NEWBIE Star Trek. You'll get 49% off when you sign up for 12 months. It's a pretty friggin' great deal.
And I want to say, hey, Ease, this could be you. Are you playing?
I wish. I looked into it, man. They just don't care.
They're just playing hard to get. It's fine.
Put out, Ease.
I know, dude.
Hey, you know who did put out?
Ricardo, could you please tell us what happened in this episode?
That's true.
Yeah. That's actually a very specific talking point in this episode.
Yeah. She's more relevant than usual today.
I know. All right. So in this episode, Measure of a Man, no one's measuring their dicks. Let's get that out of the way.
Damn it.
If you're coming in here and you're like, well, what's that episode about? I've never seen it. Don't bother. If you have that in your head, don't. No one's measuring their dicks.
That's a poll quote for this episode of the podcast. Don't bother watching this episode.
It's not what you think.
If you want a space courtroom drama, then watch this. But if you think you're in for a wild ride, Magic Mike XXL style, you will not receive it here.
Oh man!
So the episode starts off, and you know what? It starts off pretty badass, dude. There's a poker game going on, and I'm enjoying it, dude. It's Data.
I love the dumb future poker visor. It's all incandescent for no reason.
There's always every few episodes. There's a dumb future version of something, and it always bothers me. Like it's just like, does he need? Just to give him
I have an idea. So if they had given him a regular visor, it would have cast a shadow in his face. So that's why they made it kind of clear.
But that's the point of the visor, right?
I know, but like the lighting guy was like, "No, we can't have this."
Yeah, I get it. It's fine. Yeah. I mean, because like I guess they're using like future chips. Like they're kind of like shiny and metal, right? So
just like Terminators.
Oh no, I fell for one of the classic blunders. It's not incandescent. It's iridescent. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
Don't fire me for this blunder.
You're fired.
Yeah.
You're fired from this podcast. It doesn't pay you.
Oh, we just got Express.
The sponsorship hasn't started.
So
I will just one thing. A quick trivia I wanted to say. So the episode didn't start off this way originally in the script. It was much dumber.
Really? What were they doing?
Which I'm really glad that Melinda was told by production she should change it. Originally, it was supposed to be a thing where Data tries to swim and he's bad at swimming.
Oh boy!
Why would he be bad at swimming?
I don't know, but that's way dumber.
Yeah, that is dumber.
There's actually a bunch of minor changes here and there that are actually for the better, in my opinion, than what Melinda had originally thought. And because, like, a scene of Data just swimming would have been super lame. It's just like, okay, he's swimming. Also, they asked her to change it because technically it would have been really difficult to put the makeup on
and then do any actual water.
Swimming. No, it would have been. They were just lazy, dude.
So they did that, but then this is much better because, like, it's poker, which is more interesting, and like it shows him hanging out, which is cool. You know, I always love scenes where everyone hangs out. I think it's a lot of fun whenever that happens.
So they're all playing poker. It's Polanski, Jordy, Data, Miles O'Brien, right?
Yeah.
Damn, dude, first try.
Remember,
nice.
just think Potatoes O'Brien. You got Miles O'Brien. Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
No, you just think Miles Teller, piece of shit. Conan O'Brien, cool dude. Miles O'Brien.
So you're saying Miles O'Brien is Miles Teller and Conan O'Brien
put together.
Combined.
If they fucked, they would have Miles O'Brien
into a potato man.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So you have Miles O'Brien and then Riker, and they're playing poker, and they are very excited, and everyone's having fun. It looks like it. And right away, I'm thinking, when I first saw them, they're going to play cards. I'm like, oh, it's going to be Data, and he's going to be counting cards because it's 21. It's like blackjack. But they weren't playing blackjack. They were playing like a version of poker.
Yeah, 5-card stud, which I think is an older version. I've never played that type of poker before, so I
just like Texas Hold'em.
That's what I play. I always
here they
Hold'em,
played two versions of poker that have like modifiers, which I don't like. It's just like, let's just play straight.
It wasn't interesting. It seemed like every time the dealer changed, they changed the game.
It was like really dealer's choice.
I think that's more of an older tradition. Before Hold'em took over everything, like when you played cards with people, you would kind of announce what the rules are going to be as you deal.
Yeah.
Oh, like in Westerns. Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
But I don't like that. I just like just regular old poker. Anyway, there's rounds of betting, and what you end up is like a showdown between Data and Riker. And Riker has like a good hand. He's got 3 queens. He's got an ace, and I forget the other card. But then Riker, it looks like he doesn't have a good hand. He could have a flush, which is all the same clubs. Same. Same
suit.
Now. Same suit. Sorry.
Basically, it looks like Riker could have a flush.
Yeah. And so they raise really high, and it's down to Data to either check, and bet the extra 10 or whatever they put up, or fold. And he folds, and you have Riker showing him the card that he had, and so basically had nothing. He had nothing.
Yeah, and
he's like, "Well, why did you bet that much?" And it was him understanding that sometimes, like, in the words of Cool Hand Luke, sometimes nothing can be a really cool hand. And I like that. It starts off really cool. I was like, oh man, I hope this reference is brought
It's a
back
bit of a metaphor for the episode itself.
It's a bit of a metaphor, but I thought it was gonna be more poker references, or like I was like, oh, this is the Rounders of fucking the Star Trek episodes. Never again do they play fucking poker.
Oh, when they dock at the Starbase, it turns out it's like part casino.
Yeah. And then John Turturro shows up, and
I mean that's Cowboy Bebop episode right there.
The old Romulans fucking money. Romulans played by Jeremy Irons
and John
Malkovich. All right. So, anyway,
I love space gambling.
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude.
And gambling's fun.
Next thing you see is they're in a space station, and Picard is having coffee, or I don't know what he's having. You think he's having coffee in that little small mug?
He's almost certainly having Earl Grey tea.
You think so?
Yeah, that's pretty much all he drinks.
Really?
Yeah, it's
and
like
he drinks it hot.
to the point where it's a meme. Yeah.
Oh my god, dude.
Because you'll like later, especially later seasons, where like the character became more like culturally aware, like like almost referential. He would always go like Earl Grey hot because it became like almost like his catchphrase, almost like saying engage. It was like his catchphrase.
I don't like that.
Yeah, it is a little corny.
So he's drinking his Earl Grey tea, and he sees somebody walk into the space station. It's a lady, and he is. You've never seen him so animated. Like, oh
yeah,
yeah. He gets excited. And he walks up there. He almost like you remember this is gonna be a weird reference for people, but there's a character in the Rescue Rangers that's when he smells cheese. He like the aroma like lifts him off his feet.
Oh yeah, and he starts floating away.
That's how
his name,
Monterey Jack or something.
Yeah, Monterey Jack.
Oh yeah. Wow, good memory.
Well,
interesting. You like Rescue Rangers, but not Pixar movies. It's interesting.
Yeah. I don't know what that says about me. And so he goes over there, and she's kind of like happy, yet it's a weird like. I was like, what? Well, clearly he banged her, dude. Like clearly. And he names her name, and she's got a really French last name. And
Louvois.
He's like, oh, it's been 10 years.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's beautiful seeing you again. He's like, and he immediately goes, dude, what do I do to you if these people weren't around?
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah,
because you immediately start going like, wait a minute, I thought we were having like a old flame thing.
Yeah,
like we'll always have Paris or something like that.
Yeah,
but this is a very different situation.
Yeah, and she says, and she's like, bust the chair across my teeth, and it's interesting. I was like, whoa, we've never seen this before and stuff. And then they have a conversation. You find out that like she was basically, what is it, the prosecutor, right? In his court-martial case?
She was the JAG. Remember the show JAG?
No, I don't.
Oh, you don't? Oh, there was a show called JAG.
I remember the show. It's not like it's just that I didn't watch it.
Oh, yeah. So there was So JAG stands for Judge Advocate General. So it's basically the military doesn't have the same court system that civilians do. Basically, the judge can also be the attorney, which is definitely a weird conflict of interest, but that's helpful for the military. So she's the JAG over his court-martial because of the Stargazer. Yeah, when that became a big fucking mess.
Coincidentally, Mick Jagger's also a JAG, and so they roll the credits, and we come back, and they're having tea or whatever. She might be having a drink. We don't know. Maybe a milkshake. It looks like a milkshake thing. And basically, they're talking about like they're talking about old memories and like how. It's like she apparently like retired at one point, and then but it was her thing, and like she's back. And she didn't retire, but she left Starfleet for a bit. Yeah,
she implies that she did something that got her kicked out.
Yeah,
almost. Yeah.
But she's back, and she's here. She's like the JAG of this space station, right? And they're kind of like far out, right? Like that's kind of what they hinted at. Like they're
right on the edge of the neutral zone because they're trying to keep an eye on the Romulans.
Yeah, and Zod because he's floating around that thing. So they're in the Forbidden Zone.
It's all the same. Universe.
It's all the same cinematic universe. And so basically, you find out again that she was the one who was a prosecutor in his case. And he kind of like, it's weird, like the relationship. I would say like I don't know if I'm reading into this, but like he hates her, but like meaning like, oh, it was just a shitty fucking situation we were in. But maybe he respects her for like at least having her convictions to like just go all the way with what she was prosecuting him against. And you never find out what the fuck he was being prosecuted for or whatever. But
it's specifically for the Stargazer.
Which is a known event that we've covered in season 1.
I know, but what? So, like the fact that he got some people killed, apparently?
No, so apparently, according to Starfleet regulation, whenever a captain abandons the ship and the ship gets destroyed, it's an automatic court-martial. And they need to like assess what the fuck happened.
Yeah.
The problem is that she wasn't just assessing what was happening; she was like over prosecuting.
Yeah.
Like she had some sort of agenda.
She's a habitual line stepper.
Yeah, there's actually a novel that apparently explained this backstory. Should I explain it or should I just leave it a mystery. I could leave it a mystery too.
Leave it a mystery because what if I want to read it?
Okay, all right. I'll leave it a mystery. But just for the listeners, they eventually did flesh out a backstory, and it very clearly and logically explains why they're acting this way, and it makes total sense. Yeah,
and coincidentally, it's called fleshing it out, and it has nothing to do with anything. Yeah, like again, you don't read it if you're expecting erotica. So I don't know. I'm getting like a weird vibe here, like because at the end he kind of like. I guess she was hard on him or whatever. I didn't read the novel, but like there's a weird thing because if you hated somebody, you wouldn't sit down and have coffee with them. I guess because he fucked her too, maybe, right?
Yeah, it's at the very least you realize this is some sort of weird, complicated relationship they have.
Yeah,
and that maybe
it feels a bit like an ongoing lovers' quarrel.
Yeah,
right. Yeah. And like maybe time and distance has made the animosity less. Yeah, so that's why they're more willing to sit down and talk about stuff.
Yeah,
but there's definitely still a lot of bad blood between them, though.
Yeah, Picard's definitely like kind of holding on to a bit of a grudge over it.
Yeah, Picard's the one holding it way more than her, for sure.
Yeah.
And so you have this admiral approach them, and they all get up, and they're like, "Hey, what's up, dude?" And he's like, "Hey," and he's like, "Yeah, here's this person." There's introductions, such bullshit that you don't need to know. But then there's this Weasley dude. This show does a really good job of casting Weasley dudes. We had the dude from last season that had the alien chest burster eventually.
Yeah.
And he. The first episode, it turns out that you're like, oh, when you first see him, you're like, oh, he was Weasley, but it turns out he wants to work on the Enterprise.
Yeah, and he was just kind of just doing his job.
Yeah, but he was really Weasley. But then they really paid it off at the end of the season because you're like, oh no, he is a fucking weasel, this bastard, dude.
Let's blow his head off.
Yeah, let's blow his head off. But they do a good job at casting these people,
tools.
These dudes.
They
really
totally
jerks.
do because this guy has like one of the most punchable faces.
Man,
you've ever seen in your life.
He is so punchable. Oh boy,
he kind of looks like God damn it, I'm drawing a blank here, but it was a dude who was in Something Catch Fire, the show Something Catch Fire. He was also the bad guy in Guardians of the Galaxy, the blue dude.
Oh,
blue balls dude. Lee Pace. He looks like Lee Pace a little bit.
Oh, I see. I am
kind of a little bit, dude.
Maybe a little bit. His head is longer.
Yeah,
like stretched more. And
we're really rating heads now, but
I can kind of. His cousin. I see what you mean. I see what you mean.
Yeah.
And
totally. He's really Weasley, and immediately you're like, I don't like this Bruce Maddox guy. He's a piece of shit, dude. Yeah. First of all, he not once did he like look. I don't like to smile. I hate smiling. But if I first meet somebody, I at least you crack the end of your lip just a little bit up. You're like, hey, what's up? And then people are like, oh, this guy's cool. This guy's at least not a dick. But this guy, no smile.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And they meet, and then they all go. The admiral wants, I guess, a tour of the fucking ship. I don't know. And they get beamed up to the ship, and it's funny. I hadn't seen this before. How many admirals have we had on board? I guess that old dude, right?
Not that many.
That many, right?
It's a little
like the third.
But I would venture that even the first two was the same guy twice.
Yeah, you're right. You think
we've also had Admiral Bones? No.
Oh yeah, he technically was an admiral.
Oh,
yeah. So
three.
He would be the third. Yeah, for sure.
Right. Well, I was wondering because they come into the bridge and like they come out and they walk out and then Picard basically says like, "Oh, Admiral on the bridge," like
right.
Like, you think he did it because they're like, "Oh, these guys are so misbehaved. I better let them know like the clients on the on the floor, so they're not showing each other their dicks."
Yeah, it's a bit like that, right? It's like, guys, put the Nerf guns away.
Basically,
yeah. And so
what's funny is that like you see no visible like change in behavior from anyone.
No one goes, "Oh shit, no fuck, I was drinking."
No one even like straightens up their posture or anything. It's just like, "Oh, really? Oh, okay,
cool."
Anyway.
It makes me think that this isn't a fun place to work at. No one's joking around it.
Well, I don't imagine Picard running a fun ship.
Yeah, you're right, dude. No one's yelling to the wall and going, "I fucking hate you. I'm gonna kill you."
Wow, that's an inside joke.
I once did that to my supervisor.
Yeah.
Look,
but he liked it.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
Yeah.
It's
Marvin went to like some HR training, and I don't know if this is true or not. No.
Okay, I'll explain. Okay, so apparently, according to this HR video, if you go up to someone's face and point at him and say "fuck you," that is like being a meanie.
That's a fireable offense, basically, or a write-up.
Some sort of punishment, right?
Yeah.
If you go into a room in general and just yell it out to no one in particular, "fuck you."
Yeah.
Apparently, that's fine. That's just someone venting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
So Ricardo was like, "Oh, loophole." So whenever
supervisor showed up.
Yeah, the supervisor showed up, he would just face the wall and he goes, "Fuck you."
I hate
you. "Fuck you, I hate you."
Okay, for those listening, I did not work with these guys where they're talking about. So when they tell these stories, they're often new to me.
Yeah,
that's pretty funny.
Yeah. Don't try this at your work.
Yeah,
I don't think this will work.
No,
it only worked at our work because of very specific circumstances.
Yeah. Don't take our legal advice. Yeah. More. And then I would do it. Like he had eventually moved into office next to us, and I would do it really loud so we'd hear.
There was a hole in the vents connecting our rooms, and you could yell it through that hole.
Yeah. And only he would hear. Well, probably other people would hear too. But anyway, there's no one yelling in the bridge. Fuck you! I hate you.
Fuck you, Picard.
Yeah, fuck you, Picard. I fucking hate your guts, dude.
No, I didn't say it to you, sir. I was saying
I didn't say it to you. But if you noticed, I was facing the wall when I said it. So this Weasley dude comes in and he immediately is eyeballing fucking Data, dude. Immediately. He's side-eyeing him. He's looking at him like he's fucking like dinner, dude. And he's like, I can't wait to get my fucking teeth into that bad boy.
Really good camera work where they're like following him and following Data's gaze. It's really like setting the tone for what's going on.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so he's like, oh, how is it? Basically, he inquires about Data. Oh, how you doing? And then you quickly find out that this dude was one of the dudes that didn't want to let Data into Starfleet. Like he basically he submitted a report basically that said like, no, he shouldn't be admitted into Starfleet
because Data was the first of his kind to apply.
Yeah.
And they had a council trying to determine what his eligibility, being, not just a new type of species, but a new type of life in general.
Yeah.
And he was the only one to dissent.
Yeah. He's a real piece of shit, dude. And immediately he's smiling. When he's saying horrible things, he's smiling, dude.
Yeah.
Those are the people you gotta watch out for, dude.
Yeah.
And immediately what I like about this scene is that Riker, he feels like the tension, and immediately Riker's like fucking up, dude. He's like up. His back doesn't hurt anymore. He's like fucking he's like, oh fuck, I'll fuck you up, dude. No matter my back is broken, dude. I'll bane this shit, dude.
Yeah.
And so they go off and they're gonna go talk, and they all go to the conference room basically, and he talks about how he's been studying the work of Data's creator and Dr. Young or whatever his name was.
Nunyan Sung.
Yeah. The creator of Samsung
and positronic brains. Ahoy.
And Samsung TVs. And I mean Sung. And so he's like, dude, I've been studying his shit. I'm going to try to make more of these dudes. And I need to, pop the hood, check what's inside, and tinker, And he basically breaks down what he's going to do. Do this, then dump his memory into the hard drive and all this bullshit mumbo, stuff that you don't need to know. But it's not really clear whether it'll affect Data or not. He thinks it won't. He says, oh, no, it's going to be fine.
Right.
But this guy's never done this before with somebody like Data. There's nobody like Data before him. Or after, as far as I know. I don't know, dude. Maybe there's another fucking Data that, like his brother, maybe there's a lady Data.
That's what Laura was supposed to be originally.
Well, now especially now, we know that he doesn't need a lady Data. He could just lady Data anybody.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's charmed. He's charmed a woman before.
Yeah.
So
he basically Data's like, nah, I don't want to do that, dude. I'm good. And even Picard's like, well, Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think we're gonna do that. Like if it's anywhere near dangerous, like we can't do that shit, dude. And basically, the Weasley dude was fucking prepared, dude. He's like that idiot fucking FBI cop that's like, yeah, I knew you were gonna go, so I have a fucking presidential thing that lets me do whatever the fuck I want, dude. And he's like, he basically is like, oh well, if he doesn't want to submit to the fucking surgery or whatever it's called, I don't know, what is it?
Call it an
surgery?
experiment.
It's a probe. Yeah. They're gonna probe him, dude. Put stuff in his butt. And he's like, hey, well, if he doesn't want to do it and you don't want to like make him do it, then fuck that shit. I'll just take him. I'm gonna transfer him to my unit and then I can do whatever the fuck I want. Oof. And immediately I don't like this dude. And so then then Picard calls the Admiral and the Admiral's like, dude, data's too important. Like the Starfleet has gotten really into what data is and what we can do, and basically they can make like soldier robots, right? Like that's
right.
Who knows, dude? Like, look, I get this government is all nice and everything is like great and everyone's living a beautiful life, quote unquote. But I don't like that. I don't like that there's no chaos, you know? And so Starfleet gives me the weird creeps. And even though I like the show and I like what they're about and I like the exploration, but there's something about it that like reeks like the Empire.
Well, it's interesting because as far as I understand it, the original show actually really wasn't this way. Like the original show, you know, people, the future was better-ish, but like there was tons of conflict still. Like you know, people had interpersonal conflict all the time. Yeah. There was political issues all the time, constantly. Like how many times does Riker have to save the Federation by whatever, right? You know, so many times.
Yeah, banging a hot chick in the fuck planet.
Sorry, I said Riker. I meant
Kirk. Riker. Oh, well, that too. I'm sure it applies.
They're basically the same character at the beginning. Yeah. But like what happened is when by the time the Next Generation rolled around, this is actually something that Melinda Snodgrass postulated, is that at this point, Star Trek was being viewed as something that's like a really optimistic view of the future, right? And now Roddenberry was starting to think, oh, that's what people think of my series, my show, and I don't want to disappoint them, and that's what I want my legacy to be. So when he created TNG, he had a mandate to all of the writers. He said, hey, there's no interpersonal conflicts. Everyone gets along in the future. Don't worry about it. In fact, this episode almost didn't happen because even though Maurice Hurley decided to have it on the slate, she still had to have a meeting with Roddenberry. Ugh. And she was a huge Star Trek fan, so she was really excited about it. But then he told her, hey, the future doesn't have lawyers, by the way, because in the future, there is no crime. And if someone does something criminal, we just reprogram them anyway. And she was like, what the fuck? That's really weird. And
like Minority Report, pre-crime.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
Reading education.
Yeah. So she basically then just said, well, if we do that, there won't be an episode. So obviously they convinced Roddenberry to make the episode happen anyway at some point. But I think that's why there's this weirdness to TNG that is kind of only in TNG. That's the interesting part. God willing, we will get to some of the other Star Trek series. Like DS9 is very different. Like DS9, like political conflict is at the core of DS9.
Okay.
Voyager begins with a massive civil war, you know? Okay. So like there's all sorts of things that happen. It's just TNG I think because of Roddenberry's influence, at least at the beginning, is very sterile. Like everyone feels like, oh, nothing's happening. Like,
everything's
don't worry
about it. Don't worry about it. Even though I hate you. So the Admiral's like, the Starfleet wants him, dude. So there's nothing you can do about it. Sorry, dude. We're gonna. It's a routine. We call this just a routine transfer, dude. We're gonna fucking pull that guy out of there, and there's nothing you can do. It's good. So he hangs up and he's very pissed, dude. Very pissed. And so he calls in Data and they have a meeting and basically they're talking and he's like, well, like you're going to have to leave, basically. You're going to have to leave the ship, or what do you say? Is it a ship? Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's a ship. Yeah, starship.
Yeah. And so he brings up an interesting question because he's like, so the other option is like, he's like, you either leave the ship or you can have the surgery. Those are the two options, period. And he says, well, if Geordi's visor makes him see better than anybody's vision will let them see, then why doesn't Starfleet make it mandatory for everyone to get those surgeries? so they can get a visor. And that immediately like changes Picard. Like no longer is it like those are the two options. He immediately calls up and says like, "Oh, I'm gonna challenge this. I'm gonna challenge."
I really love the way Patrick Stewart acts in that reaction because he could have easily just been like, "Oh, okay, Data. Okay, I get it." But his initial reaction is almost one of anger.
Yes.
Like if you see his face, he's like, "That'll be all Data." And like you couldn't almost tell he's because I think it's human nature to not like being told you're wrong.
Yeah.
But Picard is willing to at least accept that he's wrong and then acts immediately on it, right? You know?
Do you think he's mad at that, or is he mad that like he didn't think of it? Like he didn't go through that first, you know. Like
I think to me, it could be
that's
both.
what I would get mad. Like in my head, when like I don't think of something and then someone suggests something easier, I don't get mad because they told me to do something the easy way. I get mad because I wasn't clever enough to think it before they did. That's what I get upset about.
I do think it's probably a little bit of both because like I think it's also a very human reaction to be like, "Fuck, he got me." Like I don't even have a way to counter what he's saying. Like he's totally right.
That's the primary vibe I get from the reaction.
Yeah. And I love that he made that choice where it's just like
totally.
It feels really honest compared to like if it was like a cheaper show, it could have just been like, "Oh, Data, you're right," and you know. But I like that Picard.
Yeah, he would have been like, "Hello, do you want some tea?" With my friend the transporter.
Yeah, and he's not like a perfect arbiter of what's going. Like if you're viewing this as like an episode of like a lawyer show or like a law show, he's the character who is Boston the main legal. Character. Yeah, like a Boston legal or the practice. You know, he's the main character who is like can see both ways of what's going on, and like he actually started off the conversation by saying
Murphy's Law. Sorry.
So, it's just I like that he's written that way.
Yeah. And so sorry, he doesn't challenge it right away. He starts looking up all like basically he starts researching like transfers of officers. He starts looking at all the rules and regulations of transferring a person and stuff. And then finally he marches into that lady's Dubois, whatever her fucking name is, Dubois' office, and he's like, I can't make anything of this shit. This is bullshit, but I'm gonna challenge fucking this transfer. And I say, fuck you. He didn't say fuck you because it's a T, but you could see the intensity in Picard's face when he's talking.
Right.
It's funny because I play the episode muted and it's very intense. Like he's giving you a 10 in intensity.
Well, also at this point, he's not even trying to dispute it. He's just trying to be like, I don't understand how to even make sense of these regulations. They're so convoluted.
Yeah.
So you tell me. So he's actually going to her begrudgingly to ask for advice.
Yeah.
Right. And they well established earlier that, you know, she kind of hates her.
Yeah.
So it makes for a really interesting conflict that he has to like come to her for help.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that something went wrong between the two of them. Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's this scene where I'm trying to find the scene, and she basically so he comes to her basically for help, and he's like, I need your help. She says, "Oh, I appreciate that you came to me for help." Right. And then Picard says, I'm trying to find the actual scene right. He said, "The word trust is not in your vocabulary, is it?" He's like, "Good try. 8 out of 10 or something like 8 out of 10 for effort." And I love that quote.
It's so snarky and great. I love that. It's not something Picard actually says really often. Something like that.
Not at all. And I love that. I love how snarky it is.
Yeah.
And then you have a scene with Data and Geordi, and Data gives Geordi his Sherlock Holmes pipe, and he's having a real sentimental few scenes that come about in the next few. So he gives Geordi the pipe, and then he goes to his quarters and he starts packing all his stuff, and you're like, oh, he's packing to move over to this new assignment. You know,
no, he's actually packing to resign. If I'm not
mistaken. Well, you don't know that yet.
You don't know that though.
Yeah, it looks like he's getting ready to transfer. Like that's what I love because that's one of the scenes that wasn't in the original episode. Is that wasn't there wasn't the scene of him talking to Geordi and telling, and so that scene's supposed to foreshadow a little bit like, well, what's life outside of Starfleet? And then and then that sets up the twist here where he tells Maddox, you can't do what you want to do.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Just for a very quick second, I want to rewind back to the scene that Picard and Philippa just had. Mm-hmm. There's a moment in that exchange where she says all this passion over a machine.
Yeah.
And she like kind of has like a Pulaski sort of like bemused look on her face. Yeah. It's like really you're getting all worked up over like this thing. Yeah. And like Picard's just like, don't start. Like like
Well, I love that he's just like, I don't have time for this game. Like, just don't start. Yeah, this is very important to me.
Yeah, he dismisses it and makes it very clear how important it is to him so quickly and so forcefully that you actually see it in like, it's props to her performance here, where like she actually kind of like notices.
Yeah, everyone's doing a great job. Yeah,
and like it's like the first indication for her. It's like, wait a minute, like this is kind of a big deal, and like because this is an arc for her too, where she kind of like approaches this from like, well, of course he's property. He's an android. He's a robot. Like end of story.
That's why I love every character had an arc in this episode. That's really cool. I think it's great. Yeah.
Sorry,
A for effort.
8 out of 10. 8 out of 10.
So
it
then,
was 9.
Oh, right, 9. Yeah, 9 out of 10 for effort.
Was it 9? I was way off, dude.
You're only off by 1. It's fine.
You know,
it's like how 70s only one off of 69. You know, it's not.
Yeah, dude.
That's fine.
I can always spot a 69. And then so you have him packing his shit, dude, and he packs some metals, and then he packs this like. What I only assume is like I don't know what it is. It's like a hologram, but is it like, because it's not on where it's on where he had it on the mantle, right? Like it's not on all the time. He like turns it on and it's a hologram of Lieutenant Yara.
Yeah,
and his you know the woman he banged
basically lost his virginity too.
Yeah, basically. And so he has all these things, his medals, a book Picard gave him, and what would you call the hologram thing? Is it kind of like a picture thing? Because there's picture
I think it's like a picture. Essentially, it's essentially the future version of a picture that you pull up to look at, sort of thing. Like on your phone, you're like, oh, I want to take a look at that picture. It'll be there instead. You know, and I'm pretty sure it's just the same asset they used in the episode where she passed away, where they had a hologram of her.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I bet you it's just the same asset. They just repurposed it for that portion there. So
yeah. And so then you have the Weasley dude, Tim Burton or whatever his name is. And he comes in and he just starts rifling through his shit, dude. Like
that makes Data Edward Scissorhands.
Well,
and that actually kind of works.
And so Tim Burton's like he just comes in and doesn't knock, dude. He just fucking comes in.
Yeah,
and he looks through shit, and he starts reading a passage from the book, and Data. You don't see Data get angry too often, but like he definitely gets snarky with him, but. I don't know. I sense a little anger, maybe. But
this is like, as close as he can get to being outright angry.
Yeah. He's like, hey, isn't it customary for people to knock when they come into somebody's personal quarters? And and he basically has this exchange with this Weasley man, Tim Burton, where they're talking like he's trying to convince him to have a surgery, and he's like, I'm not. And how the scene ends is by basically saying, you're not going to do surgery on me because I fucking quit.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love that he was like, no, I'd rather fucking die than see you fucking experiment on me. I'll burn myself just so you don't get my body. And I love that. That's personality. We eventually get to what the essence of a human is, but like, or what we think it is, but
right.
But that is it. Like to me, like rage is like a big thing of humanity. Like the fact that you're like, well, fuck you, dude. I will fucking burn this thing down, dude. I'm like, he's human. He's human.
We'll burn this down, motherfucker.
Yeah. I feel like we're not giving enough credit to Data, like totally burning Maddox's ass over like how much of a huge like charlatan he is.
Yeah.
Like, he
just lays in and it's like, yo, you don't understand this shit.
Yeah,
you don't understand memory. Yeah. You're gonna lose everything that makes me cool.
Yeah.
It was great that in the conference meeting, while Maddox is right next to him, he was just like, Yeah, he doesn't know shit about
Yeah. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about. He's a piece of shit, and look, he's wearing blue.
He starts off the first description of him.
We're all wearing red, yellow. The sky blue.
His first description of him was like he has very basic understanding.
This is the most shade Data's ever thrown.
Yeah, it's great. Oh man.
And also like the conversation was about basically he's like, look, you're gonna take my memories and then put them back, but you won't give me the shade of blue, basically. You know what I mean? Like memories won't have detail basically when he gets them back.
The context of
the
everything.
Context, yeah. Like, yeah, that's a blue, but what shade of blue is it? Meaning what's the emotion behind that memory, or what was I feeling at the time and stuff.
Right.
By the way, if I mention something to you guys, can you see it? And you're like if I said
you mean can you visualize like
like if I said a double from In and Out. Do you guys see it?
Yeah, I think I know where you're going, because Sarah recently discovered that there are some people who actually can't visualize things like mentally when they are told to like visualize a beach.
My wife.
Oh,
yeah.
That's really interesting. So that's actually very rare.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting.
Yeah. So you guys could visualize it.
Yeah, I could visualize a double.
I can think of a double.
Okay.
Yeah, I could see like, I would get it with the animal style, no pickles, no tomatoes. I'd have to chop chilies.
Yeah, that's exactly how I get it, dude.
For
people who aren't
you gotta get grilled onions and then add raw onions back in there with them.
That's really? What you like. That's what you like. Yeah,
that's
you
good.
Like that. Yeah, I don't like the raw onions. I actually like just the grilled.
By the way, for people who aren't from California or Nevada, In-N-Out's like a famous like burger place that only exists.
Yeah,
on
and
the West Coast.
We're insufferable about it. We know.
Yes. Look, I just mentioned it.
It's as
a memory thing. So anyway, the Weasley dude goes to the Jag lady, and they're arguing, and basically the Weasley fucking Tim Burton guy. It's like, look, he basically says, I'm gonna have him whether you want him or not, whether you want to or not. I'm gonna fucking take him.
He's such an asshole. Yeah. Wow, like it's kind of amazing.
But he basically says he can't resign. He can't resign, and that is fucked up because there's a lot of theories that I have, but once we get to the quote unquote courtroom, but he basically says, I'm going to challenge it. And like, so he's challenging the challenge, like it's really weird.
Yeah.
And he's like, there's regulations here. And basically what he states is like, he's just a computer. He's a computer and he's property of Starfleet and we own him and he can't quit. So
the analogy he makes is if he was like a metal box, you wouldn't be having this conversation. Yeah. Because he genuinely believes he's like basically just a box. Just looks like a human.
I think the analogy that hits closest to home for Philippa is like, can a computer refuse to have maintenance or like other shit done to it?
Yeah.
And she goes fair point, and that's what almost convinces her completely. Just that alone,
yeah. And then there's a scene where like they're giving a Data presents because he's going away because he's resigned.
Yeah,
and it's really. There's some funny stuff in there. He gets a book from Worf.
It's a cute scene.
Yeah,
it is.
And you have a good scene with him and Polanski. Whatever. Ron Polanski.
God damn it.
They have a scene.
I'm not reacting anymore.
Yeah. And
that's just her name now.
Yeah, and they have a scene, and it's really cool. And like they're talking, and Data notices like. Out of the corner of his eye, he notices Geordi, and he goes to talk to him, and basically Geordi's like bummed out that he's leaving,
Yeah.
He's losing his best friend.
Yeah.
It's interesting how so there's two things. It's really interesting. So all of this is cut out of the original.
Really?
Yeah,
none of this is in the original.
Yeah, that's what sucks. All that shows up.
I think they show you a bit of his like farewell party, but there's way more of it.
There's way less. But like, so the context they cut out is that there is no original scene before this where he gives Geordi the pipe. So that makes a great contrast with this scene where he's talking to Geordi now. Because when Geordi he gives Geordi the pipe, he goes. Geordi's like kind of casual about it. He's like, we're still in Starfleet. We're fine, right?
Yeah, Starfleet's a family, he said.
Yeah. So that really puts into perspective how Geordi sees everything. The fact that he's leaving Starfleet is like devastating to him.
Yeah. Yeah, because like he's not just going to like another like sector of the same family. He's leaving the family.
Yeah. And the other thing that was cut out is the conversation with Pulaski, which I think was great because it shows the character growth for that fucking character. Like Pulaski
true.
is like, hey, I want to give you advice because they bonded over the aging episode.
Yeah.
And now she's like, I think I might still think you're a machine, but I want to do all this stuff for you because, because you're a cool guy. You helped me.
Yeah, she's treating him more like a person.
Yeah, it's great.
You wouldn't give a machine advice.
Yeah, I'm really sad that was cut from the broadcast.
Yeah.
So anyway, continue. Sorry.
So then you have a scene where then the Weasley dude, Tim Burton, shows up and he...
Yeah. Also, that wasn't in the broadcast.
Really?
Yeah.
And there's even also a good bit between Riker and Deanna that like
waxing philosophic about what's going on.
And it's also an explicit it gives some explicit detail as to how Deanna feel, like her sensing of emotions and stuff. And what she feels from Data specifically. She says she feels nothing, which is kind of surprising.
Yeah.
But she says, but there's lots of life forms where I don't feel anything.
Yeah. Right, exactly. Yeah. And then she also starts to be like, well, I mean, maybe they're like right. Venom, we're just like, all of this is pretend and, we're all just fooling ourselves. And then Riker's like, maybe that's good enough, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it doesn't matter. He basically brings up the Turing test, like here. If we're
you can't tell the difference, what's the point?
Yeah, what is the point if it can't tell the difference?
Yeah. If you can fuck it.
No, that's not good. There's too many things we can fuck.
I know.
I'm trying to get through this episode without mentioning Westworld, but we're approaching that sort of topic.
Yeah,
it's coming.
Yeah.
I mean, Westworld just dives right into that.
Yeah, exactly.
Westworld knows that's what we would do, dude. Like immediately we're like, can we kill him and can we fuck him?
Yeah, this is how not to be Westworld. The episode.
Yes.
Yeah. So then the old Tim Burton walks in and he's like, "Hey, fuck you guys," in with a look, and he's like, "So what are you gonna do after you leave here when you because you've resigned?" And he's like, "Oh, I think I'm gonna become a teacher." And he's like, "Oh, my star pupil here, I've done pretty good with my star pupil here," and he touches old fucking Wesley. And I'm thinking, no, dude, that's not a good idea, dude. He's trying to kill so many people, dude. Like, this guy's a war criminal. You shouldn't be saying my star pupil's Hitler. You know what I mean? You wouldn't say that. You would just keep your mouth shut and like, yeah, I've taught a lot of kids, dude.
He may have been in my class once.
Yeah, he may have showed up.
He was very quiet. I never talked to him.
Yeah,
Azar wasn't that great.
I didn't know he was going to grow up to be that person. This is what he should have said. But no. And then the Weasley guy goes, "I have a better idea. Oh, you should be a fucking in a carnival freak show or some bullshit like that.
Yeah, be a human,
like a roadside attraction.
Be a human encyclopedia.
Yeah. And then immediately Worf's like, I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah, Worf is like, I'm about to beat your ass.
Yeah.
That's a great little moment for him.
Yeah.
And Riker's got to go, calm down, dude. Calm down.
Fucking love Worf.
Yeah, stand down, dude. And so you have the scene where Riker gets called. Right after that, he gets called into to go see Picard and Dr. Zhivago, lawyer, whatever her name is, dude.
Dr. Zhivago, I like that.
Yeah.
Let's do that. Let's go.
So lawyer Zhivago, and she's like, I guess she's French, dude. Anyway, so she's
close
like,
enough.
hey,
European.
Yeah.
Basically,
or
said,
Marshall Zhivago.
Yeah. Basically, she says, she will serve as the judge, and that since this base is barely new and they don't have a lot of things, and it's at the edge of nowhere, basically. Picard is a senior officer, so he has to be the defendant, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they have to make fucking Riker, dude.
Yeah.
Riker. That was a plot twist for me, and I was like, "What the fuck, dude? They're gonna go head to head? No,
it's
this
fucking
is wrong,
sick,
dude."
Yeah.
And so Riker has to be the prosecutor in this thing.
Yeah.
And Riker's like, "No, bro, I'm out, dude." And she's basically like, "Okay, then if you say no, then he basically dies then."
Yeah, my previous order stands, and he's
gonna go. He's going. He's not gonna be let go. He can't resign. So
step up and lose, coward.
Yeah. And he basically says like, Riker's like, I can't do this because not only have I served with him and not only like am I against what this is? I can't. First of all, he's against it. Second of all, he's like, he's my friend.
Yeah,
like, that's fucked up, dude.
Yeah. So when I first watched this episode back in the day, I was like, oh, they just came up with a contrivance to have the drama happen. It turns out this is actually how naval jags work.
Really?
If you're like adrift or something, right?
Yeah.
And you have to have like a naval like criminal like court martial. If there's no other attorneys present, it has to be the captain and his first mate. And the captain has to always be the defense, and the first mate has to always be the prosecution.
That's crazy, dude.
Yeah,
what an interesting set of rules that were probably invented a very long time ago and never changed.
Yeah, so it makes the contrivance of this episode completely cool. Like
back in the old days, when
that
they
is
had
interesting. Good,
when they had good music like that.
That plays during the court trial.
They're like, well, how do you plead? And he's like, I
plead in the mood. You're gonna take a sonic shower right here.
Yeah. It's like, if I'm gonna go, I might as well go clean.
Yeah.
So she's like, all right, so Riker, you gotta, and she's like, hey, if you fucking mail this in, like, is it mailing it in? Is that the same? Phoning it in. Man, I went old time in that one.
Mailing was like back in the 1850s.
I'm going to mail it in. Mailing takes a lot of effort.
It does, dude.
That's true. Yeah.
I have to mail some stuff back, and I'm like, fuck, is it worth it just to not do it?
Very good.
So then Riker's like, fuck, dude, I'm so fucked, dude. And she's like, look, if you phone it in, mail it in, telegraph it in,
I like the idea, just Riker just muttering in front of everyone, oh, I'm so fucked.
I'm so fucked. So fucked. And so basically he's like, there's this weird look that Riker gives Picard, like, are you fucking serious, dude? We're gonna fucking do this? And he's like, all right, fuck it, I'll get ready, dude. And he bails. And then you have a scene where basically Data comes over and he's like, I don't know, I guess he's gonna say goodbye to him. I don't know if he knows that the thing's off, or I don't know what's going on, but basically he tells Data that, hey, I've challenged the ruling and I'm going to defend you, basically. He tells him.
Yeah.
And then instead of going and preparing and being like, I should prepare for this thing, this motherfucker goes and like goes to fence.
Okay.
Fucking bitch ass move, dude.
So that's one of the few things that I think that were cut that I think made sense to have cut.
Yeah.
The fencing scene.
They would have put himself, they could have put literally him measuring his dick. And I would have been like, that makes sense, dude. Like, he's like, gotta get confidence, dude. Let me measure my dick. Cool. Now we can go in there. But no, fucking fencing, dude. Bullshit, dude.
So it's because the whole scene's a little botched. It's because originally she wanted the very direct metaphor of Riker and Picard fencing.
Sure.
I'm kind of glad that's not the scene they shot, because that would have been really corny, I think.
Sure.
Like, I think it's just too direct a metaphor.
Yeah.
And honestly, potentially one of the scenes that could have been cut, because I kind of like the idea of after their meeting with the Jag lady, that they never see each other again till court. That's kind of interesting. But this scene, it makes the scene so that, he visited him while he was fencing for some reason. It also makes it look like Picard's dicking around.
Yeah, that's the weirdest part to me. It's like, it looks like Picard isn't taking this seriously at all.
Yeah, because I think the only reason why they didn't have him fence Riker is because Patrick Stewart is a stage actor and knows how to actually stage fence.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I
don't think Jonathan Frakes did. So that's the only reason I can think of why they didn't just shoot it as written.
And fencing, fencing in any sort of like competent way is probably kill or on your back.
Yeah, so I
don't think Riker could have contorted his spine in the ways Picard is doing in this scene.
Yeah, that probably would have. Maybe that's what actually happened. Like, maybe like they were willing to teach Jonathan Frakes, and he was like, "You guys know I have a back problem." Well, anyway, I think that's honestly the only scene that probably should have stayed cut.
Like, the main point of the scene, though, is that Riker's coming to make a, like, kind of declare to Picard, like, all right, just to let you know, FYI, I'm not holding back. I'm going to do everything in my power to win.
Yeah.
Right. I think we already got that sense.
Yeah.
From the previous scene.
I think the previous scene was more of a like, you are required to do this, but they like it's very slightly different, but unnecessary because it's so slightly different.
Yeah, and then it, especially in the context of Picard is fencing.
Yeah.
When
no, I do agree with you. This scene could have been cut out.
It could have also like I get what they're going for. Like, look, I did a couple of years of boxing when I was a kid, and when you would finally be like, okay, I'm gonna spar with this person who's my friend who I train with, and it's like, cool, I'm gonna fucking try to fucking rip your head off.
That's true. Yeah. That I did kendo for a couple of years, and you know, the person you train with comes to tournament. I meet you in tournament. I'm like, I'm not gonna lose to you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to beat you.
And basically, it's like, look, we're in a shit situation. We shouldn't be fighting because we're friends, but I'm gonna fuck you up, dude.
Guys, I totally get what you mean. I played badminton.
Hey.
No joke though, badminton can get intense.
Oh yeah, I know. I've seen it. Yeah.
Especially the fans, dude.
I've seen it.
Yeah, man.
So then fucking Riker's going in there and he's taking it serious. He's studying and he's like bringing up all the information that the computer has on fucking Data while Picard's over there fucking fencing and taking a shower. I got so much time to leisurely just fucking
I'm a captain.
Work out.
I don't need to prepare.
And
although they do eventually have that scene where he's talking with Data and he's trying to figure shit out.
And Riker's like looking at all this information and he's even drinking like, I don't know, what is it, milk that he's drinking?
It's like chocolate milk or something.
Yeah, he's like, nothing powers me up like Nesquik.
Broke off the chalky milk.
Nothing gets me fucking
Riker
jacked.
strikes me as an Ovaltine man.
I wish he had
Carnation instant breakfast.
I wish he had a milk mustache now when he was drinking. While he's like thinking seriously.
Well, think about it. In the future,
form.
like everybody, like he's on the job. He can't like. It's probably chocolate milk is a future's fucking Monster energy drink. He's like, fuck, gotta unleash the beast, man. Takes a swig of Yoo-hoo.
I mean, they already make all sorts of like dubiously chocolate flavored protein drinks and all this other stuff that's supposed to be like a meal replacement and all that other stuff.
It's a chocolate monster.
Yeah.
Oh, gross.
So then, you have the actual the courtroom drama part of the episode, and you know they bring up.
One thing I want to that scene where he was talking with Data before, and like they're just it's like just a small scene that was also cut from the original as well. No way. Yeah, so that just that little scene. So actually, in the original episode, you saw zero prep. You only saw Riker prepping.
Oh wow!
So Picard just went straight to the trial.
Oh fuck, dude.
So
lazy bastard.
I do like how that scene kind of illustrates a difficulty that Picard has, because it's like even Data, when he states facts plainly, does not help his own case.
Yeah. I do really like that scene in general. Yeah, because I think the broadcast version makes it's a little weird because it looks like Picard doesn't prepare.
Yeah, true.
And Data just went with him, and then because there's a scene before that where Picard tells Data, "I'm going to represent you," right? But we already knew that. So we didn't need the scene again after the commercial break explaining. So when I was having seen the extended version, I was like, oh, that was a waste of the broadcast version. Why didn't you just cut that scene out? Put the fucking scene where he's working with Data to figure out the case. That makes more sense to me. But
I don't know why they didn't have fucking Sam Jackson in here yelling. Yeah, I killed him and I hope he burns in hell. God damn it, dude. Just Sam Jackson in a courtroom drama. Fuck yeah, dude.
Sam Jackson yelling in a movie.
Yeah, you're right. Here's the thing is that like there's other actors. There's Al Pacino and you're like, and you know, like, oh fuck. Yeah. Dude. Now here's Al Pacino doing his shit, dude.
Yeah.
And then De Niro, you know, like the face. Yeah, you did it. Yeah. And then but never have I been like, oh fuck, here's Sam Jackson phoning it in. I've always been like, fuck yeah. No matter what it is. I'm like, I never get tired of Sam Jackson just fucking yelling at people. Never have I once.
Well, I also don't think he wants to ever phone it in. He doesn't seem like that type of actor.
They're like, hey, you want to do like just bring it down like a 3? And he's like, no. All I have is fucking 10, dude. Fuck you. Roll the cameras.
The closest I've seen him to phoning it in is maybe like when he's playing a cameo as fucking Eye Patch Man. What's his name?
I guess
Fury.
so. Nick Fury.
Nick Fury when he like just when it's like a cameo, like he just shows up in like an end credit scene or something, and is not even like a real character in the movie. You know, they usually like, "Hello, I'm here."
Well, they won't make him yell; they'll just make him swear.
Yeah.
And so you have there's fucking Riker's like all in, dude. He's like, all right. And when he goes and he introduces him, like he's like, I would like to bring up Data Commander. What is it? Commander Data?
Commander Data. Yeah, he's a commander. Lieutenant Commander, I think.
Yeah. And he puts his hand on the thing, like he's basically swearing in without the swearing in part. It's like this computer that's reading out like who this guy is, and they're reading out. And Riker's like, "Oh, we can like skip this shit. Like I know who he is. Like the computer doesn't have to confirm who this guy is." And Luke Picard's like, "No, haven't finished reading it." And the computer reads all these commendations and stuff. And then Riker brings up a couple points. One is that like he's like, who created you? And like, you know, Dr. blah blah, the Samsung guy, he created me, made me in his lab. And he's like, no, but what is the Samsung guy? And he's like, what do you mean? And he's like, oh, he was a man, basically, like a man made me. But again, the counter argument is like man, quote unquote, man makes children. I mean, like
all humans were made by other humans.
By the humans, correct. Literally, you know. So it's like it's a weird argument. But then what he does is he takes his arm off and he's talking about his arm. Like he basically took him apart like you would a computer. Like, oh look, I took out the graphics card or something.
Yeah. Right before he does that, like because he asks. Well, also he asks the JAG lady permission to remove his arm, and there's this. This is like my favorite part of Riker's whole spiel is Picard's reaction. So I pulled that as a clip here.
I request to be allowed to remove the commander's hand for your inspection.
Objection. Doesn't matter. Objection withdrawn.
Yeah, Picard realizes he has no case to counter what he's saying, and it's kind of devastating because Riker is destroying him in court basically in his first cross.
So he does the who made you a man, and then he has Data bend like a rebar, you know, like a futuristic rebar.
Yeah, basically. Yeah,
he just folds it and like nothing, and then he takes his hand and he shows her what he's made of. He's like, and then at one point even like Picard goes like, well, there's people that are really strong. Like you can't base it on fucking strength, you know?
Right.
But then he says, can you turn off a man? Basically, like you can turn off a machine, a computer, and he turns off Data because basically what he had seen in the logs is how to turn off Data.
Yeah, I think he found the off button. Yeah.
Which I guess is just nicely detailed in these logs and available for anyone to peruse.
Yeah. Well, also coincidentally, the button for the orgasm is the same button for like right next to the button for like shutting down. So
gotta be careful.
Yeah, gotta be careful, dude.
The only way like he could have found the button because he told Beverly Crusher in secret is that Beverly then betrayed him immediately and put the schematics.
He's like, you know, I'm gonna upload it to the internet.
The computer.
She's the what is it? Is it Paula Poundstone? Who's the girl that read it? Who's the girl that read it out? Monica Lewinsky.
Paula Poundstone's an actor.
Is it? Oh boy, I'm sorry, Paula. Who is the girl who? So like Monica Lewinsky.
Oh, I have no idea.
So like Monica Lewinsky told like, look, she did what she did with the president. She was doing the Lord's work, and she goes to her friend and goes, dude, can you believe this happened? How crazy is this, dude? And she goes and tells her friend, and her friend A records it.
Oh,
and B,
it was recorded. I never knew that.
And immediately goes and tells, like, releases it and stuff. And
that's fucked. What a shitty friend.
Yeah.
Wow. Paula Jones was her name.
Paula Jones. That's it. Paula is a horrible name, dude.
Paula.
I'm sorry.
Jones.
If your name is Paula, I apologize. These people besmirched your fucking name. I apologize.
Oh, that's fucked. What a shitty friend. Wow.
And so anyway, this is where was I going with that? Oh, this is what happened with Beverly Crusher. She's the goddamn Paula Jones. Data's like, this is how you turn me off, and she's like, cool. I just recorded that, uploaded it to the internet.
Well, now I'm really turned off.
Yeah. So then you have this scene where basically Riker fucking mops the floor.
Yeah.
Well,
his last line is devastating because it's a callback to the first episode.
That's true.
Yeah. He says, I forget the exact line, but he says like, Pinocchio is broken, right? Something like that.
Yeah. And his strings are cut.
His strings are cut. It's such a good callback. Like that's one thing I like about this episode is that there's a lot of like understanding of character history and they build on it.
Yeah, there's continuity. They call back that Stargazer incident in there. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff.
The fucking
Oh yeah, exactly. And it's not just a callback; it's an important part of Data as a character.
He's like, "Who's this lady?" He's like, "I banged her." And then I told Paula, and she fucking told everybody. All right, so then you have fucking Tim Burton fucking smirking, dude, and then in this fucking angle where he's smirking in the scene, I'm like, this guy looks like fucking Anthony Perkins, dude, and I don't like it, dude. Anthony Perkins, like a motherfucker. And so
I would agree that I think he's got that look. Yeah.
And so you see that Picard's like devastated. He's like, oh fuck, dude, I shouldn't have gone fencing, dude. Shit.
Well, Riker's devastated too. Riker sits down
as soon as he sits down, he like you could see how conflicted and upset he is over what a good job he's done.
He's like, I did a great job, but oh fuck.
And so I discovered something interesting here. So the next scene is him talking to Kaylin at the bar.
Guinan.
Huh?
Guinan.
Shit, dude. She's talking to Guinan, and she's like, of course, she's gonna give him advice. We've seen her give advice before, right? But she puts down a coffee, dude, or soda. I can't tell. It's a dark, liquidy substance. I don't think it's soda because it's not fizzing. It's gotta be coffee, dude. But he doesn't really drink it, I think. So we'll forgive him, dude. You didn't go with the tea, unless Earl Grey tea is really dark.
Oh, I can't. It's black tea. So
okay, maybe
it could be tea. Yeah,
tea.
It could be tea.
They're talking, and he's basically like, "Oh, he does take a swig out of it." I'm just looking at it right now. Maybe that's what pumps him up, dude. So anyway, he's talking to her, and basically, I guess this is what the purpose of her character is, where she gives advice without giving advice. Like she guides people right to the right answer or the conclusion.
Yeah. She's Wilson.
And yeah. She's Tim the Toolman Taylor. And then so she
no, Picard is Tim the Toolman Taylor.
Oh, I guess. Yeah. And so he's like, oh, I got this problem. She's like, what's wrong? He's like, I went fencing.
I should have been preparing for this case, and I went fencing instead. I went
fencing with my friend Tim. And she's like, it sucks because Tim fucking sucks, and I didn't even get a good workout. And so he's like, yeah, I'm gonna lose this case. And basically, she starts talking about, and she basically guides him to the conclusion that, like, well, if this guy's gonna make more robots, and then they're gonna just send them out to do their bidding and not give them freedom, basically, she guides him to the fact that this is slavery. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I think this is okay. So I pulled the clip, because this is actually my favorite scene in the entire episode. Actually.
Really?
Yeah.
The coffee scene.
And it's for several reasons. There's a lot going on in general simultaneously, just between the two characters. And I think also because I honestly think these are the two best actors in the show. I think Patrick Stewart,
dude, and Teabag's in the show, dude.
No, he's gone. He's gone. Okay, he's not coming back. But I honestly think Patrick Stewart and Guinan, whenever they talk, they're fantastic, and this is just an example of that.
He's proved his value to you.
In ways that I cannot even begin to calculate.
And they're talking about Data here, obviously.
Right.
And now he's about to be ruled the property of Starfleet. That should increase his value.
In what way?
Consider that in the history of many worlds, there have always been disposable creatures. They do the dirty work. They do the work that no one else wants to do because it's too difficult or too hazardous. And an army of Data's all disposable. You as their leader, you don't have to think about their welfare. You don't think about how they feel. whole generations of disposable people.
He's talking about slavery.
I think that's a little harsh.
I don't think that's a little harsh. I think that's the truth.
So there's several things going on, to me, at least. So one is that obviously they're having a great acting scene in general, and and I think it's also a scene that could have only happened between Picard and Guinan, because Guinan's black, and I think it wouldn't have made sense any other way. And to me, this is where you kind of lose all of the fears that Guinan is like a magical black Negro character, because to me, a magical black Negro character just supports a main character, gives them advice, and magically moves on, right?
Yeah.
But to me, the fact that she is black makes this conversation integral. Like, it wouldn't really work correctly if he wasn't talking to a black person and she wasn't just bringing it up as though it's just part of something she understands, as having natively happened so many times before. So that's what I really love about that scene. Especially with, Star Trek is so sterile sometimes, like you were saying before, and it's often like unwilling to like directly address things that happen in our world, or our timeline, I should say. And the fact that they're willing to just completely bring up that, hey, America used to have a bunch of slaves. I think it's great. I think that the fact that the show is willing to directly use that, not just as a talking, but it's basically the crux of his entire argument. And they did it with Whoopi Goldberg. It's not two white people just saying, well, isn't that slavery? It's basically a black person telling, like, he couldn't come to that. He basically didn't come to that conclusion on his own. He needed like an outside perspective outside of his own personal experience. Yeah. And I think it's great. It's my favorite scene.
I would say that the only complicating factor is that Guinan herself, like in world, is not
right. She's an alien. Yeah.
She's not supposed to be like a black person per se.
Right. But it's
she's an alien. She's an alien.
Well,
are you spoiling something, dude? God damn it, Dan.
I guess you don't know for sure yet.
Well, I mean, like up till now, she has been painted as a completely mysterious character. You don't know what or who she is. Like, she could be literally anything.
Right.
But
except like a Gungan or something.
Well, Gungans are the exact opposite.
Yeah.
What's going on here?
That's what I'm saying. She's not a Gungan.
Thank God she is not.
Oh my God. Can you imagine if Picard went up to fucking Jar Jar Binks for advice?
And Jar Jar Binks gave the same like general like points and advice.
Slavery, like it was fucking, oh my God.
No, but you know what? You almost convinced me just now. Give Jar Jar Guinan's lines. Like, you don't have to dumb down the lines, but let Jar Jar say those lines, and I would love to see the end result.
Yeah.
Someone get Jar Jar on the horn for me, please.
Oh no.
So then you have Picard with his newfound, what would you call it?
He has fire in his belly.
Yeah,
he understands the real point of the case now. Because I think he realizes everyone's been missing the point. Guinan knew the point immediately.
Yeah,
right. But
first he brings out his travel case when he puts Data on the stand, and he starts opening it, and he's like what is this? And he's like, oh, those are my medals. And them's my medals I took from dead men. No.
He's like, the scalps.
And he
fitted,
and he's like, why are you taking this? And he's like, oh, I don't know. He's like, he doesn't know why he took it. He's basically like, maybe vanity is the reason. And
I just wanted them.
Yeah. He just wanted them. And it's interesting. And then he brings out a book that Picard gave him, and he has them like, why do you value it? And he's like, oh, because basically he says, because we're friendship. And that got to me, dude. That got to me. I was like, oh man, that's awesome. That's sweet.
There's a lot of great stuff like that in the scene in general. Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out, there was a scene where I was like, oh no, not here, not now, dude. Not here, my heart.
Well, Tasha.
Don't get me. Maybe that wasn't it. There was something else that got me that I was like, oh.
Well, that got me because the part, brings, like, for some reason, me rewatching this series, I place a lot more value on Tasha as a character. For some reason, it might be because you like her as a character so much.
Best character, dude.
But like when he brought Tasha's hologram out, and like it's almost, first of all, it's kind of cute how Data is like, well, I swore to her I wouldn't talk about it.
Yeah,
that's kind of adorable.
Even though when you go and review the episode, she was more like, I'm so fucking embarrassed. I just did that with you. Shut up. Don't ever say anything. You're a child, Data. You're a child. I'm going to die now. Bye.
Well, the funny part is Picard goes, I'm sure she wouldn't mind, which implies he knows exactly what happened.
Yeah. Well, again, he probably told Beverly in confidence. In confidence.
Beverly.
And Beverly is like, what Siki said again, closer to my recorder.
And then you say closer to my collar?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, imagine you're talking to my neck. And then she wouldn't fucking show the recording to fucking Picard. So anyway, he's
what
like, it's fine. I think she would be, she would be okay with you saying it in this context.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, she's like, yeah, I hooked up with her, dude. That's why sentimental stuff. She was special because we were intimate. We short circuited our chips.
Her chips.
But all kinds of chips, Doritos, Funyuns.
Both chips were circuited shortly.
Yeah. At the same time.
They stay shorted together.
Well, yeah. And so you have that's the end of the what is it, deposition? Is that what it's called? I'm not a lawyer, dude.
Well, end of his cross examination or examination. I don't know if it's a cross examination, but him talking to the witness of Data. Then he brings up Maddox. Yeah.
Then Tim Burton comes in and he brings up the idea of like, well, why do you think he's not? He's just a computer, and he's like, well, he's not sentient, and he's like, well, why do you think? What makes somebody? He's like, enlighten me. Like, how am I sent?
Hold on, we skipped past the part where Maddox puts his hand on the thing and starts reading off all the things that he is, and Picard's just like, nah, forget that shit. We know, it's fine. Let's go.
Yeah, fuck you.
Yeah, forget that, dude. You probably don't have any medals like this guy. This guy stole them. He scalped them.
You're the chief robotics at the DeVry Institute.
Yeah, you went to ITT Tech, I see.
His parents aren't even proud of him.
Yeah.
That's what the robot voice reads out.
Yeah. He went to DeVry. His parents didn't come to the graduation.
Yeah. They said this is a sham graduation. It's like when you go to an elementary school graduation, no one cares. So he's examining. He's like, what makes us sentient? What's the deal? And he's like, well, like intelligence. And he's like, well, isn't he intelligent? And he's like, well, it's the ability to learn and understand all these things. And this guy's a real weasel, dude. I don't like him, dude. And Picard's like, what does self-awareness means? Why am I self-aware? And they have all this whole breakdown. And
well, he goes like, well, you know where you are and what you're doing. Yeah. And he asks Data, where are you right now? He's like, oh, I'm in a trial. Explains exactly what's going on. Yeah. It's like, that sounds self-aware to me.
Yeah.
And I guess this is a part that's difficult to explain because this is sort of like the prototypical Picard speech saves the day thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I was pulling up clips. And honestly, I don't think I should pull up a clip because like the speech runs quite long.
Yeah,
is very, very good. Like Picard, Patrick Stewart does a fucking excellent job. And you kind of should just listen to the whole thing yourself when you watch the episode because it's like there's things you can pull from it. Like my favorite portion is the part where he's like, I can't he lays out his basically thesis statement that he's like, are we condemning an entire species to slavery by making him property, right? That means everyone who comes after him would be property as well. Isn't that slavery? And then he says, then what if we discover he is sentient? Do you know how to handle it? And then he starts accusing everyone in the room. Do you? And that's my favorite part of his speech, actually.
Yeah.
I love how when he turns to Philippa, when he says, do you? Philippa's like, and then he says, "Do you again?" at Felipe twice, and she's like, "Ugh."
Yeah, because it's like you're the Jag. You should know. Yeah. But I love that he does it to Riker, and he does it to fucking Tim Burton, and he does it to the Jag lady. Like no,
because that's a big ass question.
Yeah,
and he's shoving it in everyone's face. It's like everyone needs to understand what we are dealing with here.
Yeah. And it's cool because every single one of those characters had a slightly different perspective on it. So him directly addressing them sort of makes you reminds you of that, and how their mind is probably, their wheels are spinning thinking about that question. Like Riker would immediately go, it doesn't matter whether he's actually sentient or not. He's still my friend. You know, like Maddox is probably like, shit, I don't know what to think. And then Philippa is probably thinking like, am I wrong in my initial ruling? You know, like it's great. I fucking love this scene.
Yeah.
And there's a reason this is like, you YouTube Picard's speech. This is probably going to be your first hit. Like, cause this is like the prototypical Picard saves the day by giving a great speech. Yeah.
Which is basically when he asked, you said it when he asked like, what is the third thing that makes people human? You know? And I like that he says basically like, well, if you make more of Data, doesn't that make it a species, basically? Isn't that a new species? And isn't that what we're like accepting here? Like,
isn't that Star Trek?
Yeah. It's the name of the fucking show, dude. It's right here. He's like, the letters would go here. and yeah, it's a great speech. You should listen to it. But it's well said. He basically, I think that it's not a criminal court, but it's kind of like, it feels like that he's like, well, it's not proven beyond a reason, you know, like all you have to do is prove that there's doubt, you know?
Yeah.
And then you can't convict. And he does. And even Riker immediately like smiles and he's like, yes, dude. He saved the day. He saved my friend. I almost killed him, but he saved the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. If he hadn't gone fencing, we would have been done quicker. And so basically, she's like, okay, well, based off of all this stuff, what we've talked about, like she overturns the what is it? She overturns the fact that he has to go and have the operation.
She overturns her original ruling that he's a piece of property and
she has
can't
such
resign.
an odd tone when she starts off her considerations, though. It's like, gee whiz, I don't know.
Well, boys, I don't know. Yeah, it's a little odd. Yeah, it's a little
golly.
Odd. Yeah.
She's like, look, you're still a piece of shit, but you're not a piece of machine. We don't know
you are. You get to suffer like the rest of us.
Yeah, you're basically miserable as everybody else, dude. Figure out what life is and not be miserable is what you should try to do.
Yeah.
And he wins. And Data, it's funny because he's very reasonable. Like, he's not salty towards Tim Burton.
Yeah.
He goes over there and he's like, hey, cool. You know, I refuse to go your procedure, first of all, because now he could choose.
Yeah.
But he says, hey, I basically like, once you get ahead on your, like, if you continue your work, I would like to just read it or see it and stuff and kind of, I'm interested.
Keep training and challenge me again, sucker.
Basically.
Yeah. I love that he's just an amicable, like, you know what? You're an asshole, but your research is interesting.
Yeah. But even
Tim does bring up a good point. It's like, I'm going to be here. I don't age, dude.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And Tim Burton basically is like, well, like basically he can't do the surgery on him. He can't force him to do the surgery, but the transfer still stands. So Tim Burton's like, I'll reverse the transfer. You can keep him here. I don't want to see that sweet piece of meat near me, and I can't get my hands on it.
I mean, the way he acts while looking at him, like all of his like nervous tics and stuff, it does make you uncomfortable.
Do you think he's just jealous that Yara like banged him, and she's like, I want a piece of that toaster.
There's one thing that the extended edition added, which I think makes his character really like Maddox's character really interesting. You know the scene where he comes in and crashes the party, right?
Yes.
So that's not in the original, and I think that makes a lot of sense for his character because it shows straight up that he hates him.
Yeah.
Like he came there kind of just to taunt him and throw insults at him. Like he had no other reason to really be there. Yeah. And in the trial, Picard asks, do you like Data? And he tries to fib an answer, So I think in the original broadcast version, you could maybe go along with the fib and goes, yeah, maybe he doesn't actually know what he feels about Data. He might just view him as equipment. But I think he actually hates him. And I think it's interesting because it's like, you know how like there's this type of men that hate women, but they hate him because they can't fuck them, you know?
Yeah.
It almost reminds me of like
you
that.
get that bit of a vibe.
Don't hate the game, hate the player.
I think it's also
Don't
worth
hate the player,
noting
hate the game. I messed it up. Sorry.
I think it's also worth noting that at that point at the birthday, like Data had given him a royal fuck you.
That's true. That's true.
Like he had been like, well, fuck off. I'm not going to do what you.
But it's also completely within his rights. Just like how it's within like a woman's rights to just be like, I don't want to date you. You know.
Yeah. True. But I'm not. But I mean, like at that point, what I'm saying is like the sequence of events gave him more reason to hate Data.
Absolutely.
Than like from the beginning.
But I do like the contextualization in that party scene where it like cements that he actually just actively also hates him. Like they allude to it by at the beginning where, you know, he was the only one to dissent his admission into Starfleet Academy. And I'm like, okay, so there's some animosity there. It's why Data was staring at him when he first walked on and stuff like that. But I do like that character moment because it makes his motivation not just like mechanical, like he's hypocritical because he accused Picard of being emotional. He's also being emotional, you know?
Yeah.
And that cements it. I think that's great. It's a great angle to have added to the character with the extended edition that shines a lot more through. So, yeah.
And then you have one last scene with Riker and Data. They're having a party for Data, kind of a thing at the holodeck. But in the holodeck, you know they're having a fucking party.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be a hell of a party. Like the sad party, 10 forward.
Yeah,
celebration party. Yeah, we're going to the holodeck.
Fucking party.
We're gonna load up all of the sexiest Sherlock Holmes characters we can find.
He's like, well, computer.
Wait a minute. Tasha's funeral was in the holodeck.
Oh, you're right. Whoops. Okay, when it's super sad. Okay, like extreme happiness or extreme sadness.
No. What I mean to say is that Tasha's funeral must have been one fucking sexy party.
That's true. Riker's
I mean, that
sulking.
Windows XP really gets you going.
Yeah. He is sulking, and basically Data comes over and he's like, hey, you come join the party downstairs. We're playing, we turned off the lights in the holodeck. We're playing Who's in My Mouth. And
Riker's like, without me?
Without me, Data. Oh no, he's
I introduced you guys to that game.
Yeah. I started that game. And so he's like, no, like I almost cost you your life. Like, no, I can't do it. He's kind of pissed off. And he basically Data breaks it down. He's like, look, like you basically took a hit, but not only to your ego, but this is going on your record. That you lost. You took a hit and saved me.
Oh, you fucked up your record.
Yeah.
That's all Riker cares about. That's why he's sulking.
Yeah. He's like, God damn it, I lost.
Sure. Yeah. That'd be a dark, hilarious ending. Just like next time.
Next time you're dead, dude. But he's basically like, hey, I'm and he calls him Will, which is really cool. And he smiles. Riker smiles.
So that's not
such
in the
a
original
huge moment.
That's not in the broadcast version.
That's crazy.
That's my favorite addition to the episode. First of all, it's such a small portion. Why remove that part? Because it's such a good character.
It was for
moment.
an orange juice commercial.
Because it
Sunkissed.
It shows Data has also had a character arc in the episode by him calling him Will because he's willing to be like, hey, I'm calling you Will to let you know that we're friends.
Yeah,
you know,
don't forget that we're friends.
Yeah, I actually pulled that line up because it's my favorite thing. I just want to play it because it's fucking great. Play it.
Sir, there is a celebration on the holodeck. I have no right to be there. Because you failed in your task. Oh, God, no. I came that close to winning, Data. Yes, sir. I almost cost you your life. That is true, sir. But, Commander, Will, I have learned from your example. What could you possibly have learned from that ordeal? That at times, one must deny one's nature, sacrifice one's own personal beliefs to protect another.
See, and the great part about that line is it actually is a great bookend for the whole episode. When they started with the poker thing, Data didn't believe so deeply in the rules of the game that he thought he'd be winning. Right. And then he realized that Riker actually did the hard thing by having to go against his nature. Just like Data learns that sometimes you have to go against your nature, just like when you're playing poker. It's like, it's great. It would have been a fantastic thing to the whole episode, I think. And I know it's such a short line. I'm surprised they cut that out of everything else as well. But
actually a part that came right after where it cut off from your clip was like a line that kind of affected me, where it's like, you hurt yourself, like for my benefit, and I'll never forget that.
Like that's in the episode. But so that emotional part they kept, but they pulled out the bookending part to me. And I love that he calls him Will. Like, that's such a good detail.
Now that's something that they really should have kept, honestly.
Yeah, I really love that detail. That I'm glad it was restored, like in this version. And
in the Snyder cut.
Hey, people had to wait way longer for that culmination.
This is like a lot longer. I guess this is technically the Snodgrass cut,
and it was real. This is actually footage that existed.
They actually shot it, and the reason how they restored this, by the way, is that
they had to digitally remove Data's mustache.
Got him. So the way it worked is that because it was her first script, Michael Okuda actually wanted to do something nice for her. Michael Okuda and one other person wanted to do something nice for her. So they said, hey, they just finished the first cut of the episode. It's too long for broadcast, so they're going to cut it out. But I want to find you a tape that has everything you wrote on a tape. They gave it to Melinda, and she kept it all these years. And then when they were doing the Blu-ray restorations, Melinda was like, wait a minute, I have this tape. And then Michael was like, oh my God, you have the tape still? Let's restore it and have the full version. Because this, spoiler alert, ended up being one of the most beloved episodes of TNG of all time. Because it's a really good episode. It's actually, I alluded to it at the beginning, but this is my favorite episode in all of Star Trek, ever. It might be one of my favorite episodes in general of anything ever.
Whoa, calm down, dude.
No, seriously, I really love this episode, and
it's a very good one. Yeah,
and a lot of it I think was really heightened by the extended version. The only thing that's weird is the fencing scene.
Agreed. No, I am not mad about any of the additions or extensions.
Yeah.
They should do it. They should have put it in black and white though.
Yeah.
Really go full.
Really missed opportunity.
Yeah, the shiny and chrome cut. And then Anyway, I think I've played my hand as to what did you think, Ricardo?
I really enjoyed it. Oh my God, dude. I really enjoyed it. I was choking on my own saliva. I enjoyed the episode. I thought it was really good.
But don't let me color your rating, please. Go for it.
I'm still going to only give it a 9.
Okay. All right.
Because
so it matches.
There's got to be something that I don't know about that I'm going to be like, this is really weird, but I fucking love it. A 10,
okay.
You know?
That's good. You're saying that because there is an episode in season 3 that many would argue with me is actually the best episode. So it's good. It's good that we're leaving
go back
that.
To the fuck planet.
And then it becomes graphic.
Yeah. And then that one is the real measure of a man.
It's titled The True Measure of a Man.
Yeah. The Snyder cut. They're like, in the 80s, they're like, who's the fuck Snyder?
Yeah.
D. Snyder.
That's too many. That's too much sniding.
Yeah.
What about you, Dan?
I'm gonna give this one a 9.
Okay.
Yeah, dude.
All right. Since you've seen, do you remember enough of the original to also rate the original?
I'm afraid I do not.
Okay. Because I'm gonna do both. Because I would rate the original like a 9.5.
To me, 9.5 weeks.
It would be about as good as Star Trek gets to me. Extended edition, I think I'm gonna give it like a 10. 10, maybe like an 11, dude. Like I really
you can't. The scale goes up to 10, dude.
I really
respect the scale. God damn it!
This isn't fucking Spinal Tap, dude.
I really enjoyed this episode. I'm very biased. This is the episode that made me love Star Trek. Actually, when I was first watching it, because when I was a kid, I would watch Star Trek on and off on TV, and I'd be like, "Oh, Star Trek's fun, right?" And then I actually had never seen this episode until I marathoned TNG one weekend, just feeling like it. And I came to Measure of a Man. I was like, "What the fuck? This episode's really good," and it made me want to, from there, keep watching the whole thing. So this is the episode that I always remember really fondly as being like, this is like perfect Star Trek to me. But I'm very biased. I have a very subjective experience with that. So I totally understand. Like, it's not flawless by any means. I think it's very, very well written. It's an excellent spec script. But like, for example, if they had gone with the original version of the script, it could have been a lot worse. Actually, if it started off with Data swimming, that kind of would have been pretty lame. Yeah, honestly. And they, some other things here and there. But anyway, that's just me, my own subjective thing. But I think we can all agree that at the very least, The Measure of a Man was a very good episode. And, and I think the extended edition was great. I'm really happy to. I liked it so much. I immediately listened to the commentary track right afterward.
You have the DVD?
Oh, the file I sent you has it as well. So yeah. So yeah, but I really enjoyed this episode. But anyway,
it's a very good one.
Yeah, there's a reason why like they bothered to make an extended restoration of this episode. Like a lot of Star Trek fans, this is one of the standouts. But anyway, the next episode is not a standout. It's the Dolphin. If I don't remember this episode very well. All I remember is that I think Wesley has a love interest, and that's the episode. So that's going to be really good. It's a really good palate cleanser.
All right, my first 10 is coming.
Anyway, this has been Newbie Star Trek. Thanks for listening, everybody.
On this extra long episode.
Yeah, ran long. I'm sorry, I had a lot to say.
This episode?
We'll know the full once I finish editing.
69 minutes. What I'm saying.
I'm sorry. Yeah, even after I edit this, it's going to be pretty long. So sorry about. I just had a lot to say about the episode because I really love it.
God damn,
it's an episode that deserves it.
Yeah, I would also. Yeah, I
don't feel too bad.
We're not going to feel the same way about the next episode. I guarantee it. But
next episode, don't worry, it's going to be 20 minutes long.
I'm gonna talk for fucking an hour and a half about Wesley.
I can do it. It's all turned around because of his love interest. Yeah,
enough material.
And then if you guys have been enjoying the podcast, it'd be great if you could give us a rating at Apple Podcasts or wherever you're listening that can give a rating. Most places can't, so for whatever reason. So, but Apple Podcasts would be great if you could give us a rating there. And also, we do other shit. We have the Fugitive Frames Film Podcast. We're doing commentary tracks. We might do a commentary track for The Fly too. We don't know. We'll see. We'll see what the fuck happens there. Yeah. At the very least, I know that we're going to eventually do commentary tracks for the Matrix trilogy because I fucking love the Matrix and Matrix 4's coming out. And I'm forcing Ricardo and Dan to do this with me. And then there's that. And then we also have our channel, the Fugitive Games YouTube channel, where we do Let's Plays and streams. Still going to Justice for All, Phoenix Wright right now. Still going to Vice City. And I've been live streaming a lot of Mass Effect. There's also a thing we might be doing. I haven't figured out the technical aspects of it yet. We might be playing multiplayer Roller Coaster Tycoon 2. Don't hold me on that. I'm still trying to figure out mechanically how it's working, but it could happen. And that'll be interesting.
And at any given moment, a rhythm game might suddenly be streamed on a random day.
Yeah. I want Dan to just go for it. I think Dan's like preparing and making sure it's good.
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah. So, as Dan has this look on his face.
Doing a lot of prep here.
He's fencing right now.
Very good. Very, very good. Yeah. But that was our discussion of The Measure of a Man. I'm sorry to have disappointed Ricardo at the beginning.
God damn.
Very sorry, Ricardo.
Next time, send it.
We've ruined every piece of Ricardo's Star Trek experience from the very beginning.
Well, he ruined it himself by watching the wrong episode first.
That's true. Like, this is a weird way to start, but fuck it, I'll go with it.
Yeah. It's funny that when you first watch Datalore, you're like, oh, this is pretty good. And then you watch a few episodes and you reach Datalore and you're like, this episode sucks. But yeah, and then we're gonna watch the Dolphin next time. This is not gonna be good. I don't know.
Be the judge of that.
I can't guarantee that, but if it's Wesley centric, odds are high that it's annoying.
I'll give you that.
So we'll see you guys next time. Stay safe. COVID is still a bit wibbly wobbly, so we'll see you guys around. Stay safe.
Yeah,
everyone.
don't go out there going to Who's in My Mouth parties without a mask on.
Yeah.
Don't go catching nothing.
You still go to the Who's in My Mouth party. Just wear the mask.
Just wear the mask. Yeah, just wear the mask. Yeah.
I mean, that is honestly the most important part.
Yeah.
You're not shedding COVID down there.
Yeah, it's true.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys around. See you guys. Bye.
Bye. # Who's in My Mouth.
Very good.